Okay, welcome to everybody on YouTube land. Right now it's just me and Anastasia, and I wanted to finish my thought that I was sharing with Anastasia and about Hurricane Katrina. Tomorrow is, of course, the anniversary of the landfall, and um, as horrible as it was, the thing that I was proud of is how the two cities that I'm most connected with, Atlanta, Georgia, and Houston, Texas, kind of stepped in to help out the people of New Orleans as best they could. And so I was really proud of that. So having finished that thought, let me go into the housekeeping. And so first of all, like I said, welcome to the Fellowship of Mental Health Hangout. We'll be live from 3 to 4, and then from 3 o'clock, no, I'm sorry, from 2 to 3 we'll be live, and then from 3 o'clock to whenever we'll be doing our private session. We don't have judgment here. We don't do therapy here because none of us is a licensed therapist. And plus, I've got some new information on that too. Maybe I'll share it with you. But we do try to extend much respect to everyone in the Hangout. We try to keep it a PG rating, and we try to use I statements. If you use I statements, you're not as likely to step on someone else's toes. And as I was telling Anastasia earlier, we may have a new guest or two. I've invited a couple of people. I don't know if they'll show up because of work or whatever, but I have flew them into our kind of like a network. So they may be showing up in other people's Hangouts over the weekend. So, Anastasia, do you have anything to add to housekeeping?
No.
Okay.
To housekeeping.
Okay. So now we'll go into, well, before I go into our topic, okay.
Welcome, Angelo.
Yeah, welcome to the Hangout. Let me try to send these invitations out again because sometimes they take.
What's that buzzing?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure what it is. Hold on a second here. Okay. Maybe I need one more invitation. Okay.
I haven't spoken to Liz all week due to technical issues with Skype.
Okay. That's another thing that I've learned about. Anyway, there was a neat video on how people do therapy online, and there's a whole bunch of protocols. And if your therapist says, let's do therapy over Skype, that's not really a good idea because Skype is not that secure.
No.
And then in my country, there's all kinds of they're called HIPAA requirements, and I forget what the acronym stands for, but it has to. I think it's health insurance protection something. But anyway, it's all about privacy and who can get your information, who can give out your information or whatever. So Skype is not sanctioned by HIPAA.
Yeah.
But anyway, I posted a thing on Google Plus. This lady gave a 2-hour lecture at some school in Southern California, and she was real up to date on what to expect on both sides, what to expect as a therapist and what to expect as a client. And one thing is, in my country, you have to be in the same state in order to do therapy with somebody. In other words, being in Texas, I couldn't do therapy with a therapist in California because she doesn't have a license in Texas, and it goes state by state by state. So that was some really good information. So that was my PSA. So let's go into our topic, and the topic I have this week is a really loaded topic, and I hope we can deal with this with respect and dignity or whatever. But the topic I have for this week is forgiveness and when does it end?
That's a good one.
Oh.
Yeah. So let's go around and share a definition of forgiveness so that we know what we're actually talking about, because everybody has different churches and psychologists and philosophers. They all have different definitions of forgiveness. So just for the purposes of our hangout, could you give me your definition of forgiveness? And we'll start with Anastasia, if you'd like to begin.
For me, forgiveness is being able to forgive someone who you've fallen out with, and to be able to like accept an apology and to be able to move on from it.
Okay, okay. Angelo, would you like to add on to that?
Well, I think forgiveness ties in more with the aspect of letting go of certain things that happen and not being stuck on situations or scenarios that happened in the past. I think that's really what forgiveness is about.
Yeah.
Okay, okay. Well, if you go to Webster's dictionary or Merriam-Webster's dictionary, there's two key components to forgiveness, and the first one of those is no hate. Whatever that was done to you, or you know, you give up your right to hate. So and basically forgiveness is for you. It's not necessarily for the other person. And the second thing is, and both of you guys kind of mentioned this, is that you don't expect a payback. In other words, I lend somebody $500 and they blow it on something and they never pay me back. Well, to forgive that debt is to say you don't have to pay me back or whatever.
Yeah.
So, but I want to talk about what forgiveness is not. Okay, forgiveness is not reconciliation. Now, then it may be the basis for reconciliation. If you're a business partner with someone and they defraud you and ruin your reputation, you don't necessarily have to go back into business with them. Maybe you stop hating them and you forgive the debt, but you don't have to go back into business. Now you may want to, but reconciliation is a process. The other thing I wanted to say is forgiveness is not acceptance. You don't accept what they did.
You don't accept what the person's done to you.
Right, and they still have to face legal consequences, which may or may not be out of your control or whatever. So they're still going to have to be accountable for their actions. But you don't want to pay back anymore, and you don't want to hate them anymore. And I want to say that for me, I used to be a lay minister in two different churches or whatever, and I used to preach forgiveness as something that someone had to do or whatever. And I've kind of stepped away from that because I think I recommend forgiveness, but it's a very, very personal thing to the individual, and they actually have to decide, to what extent am I going to forgive, and also forgiveness is a process. I think when I went to the Holocaust Museum, I think one of the women on the video they have there was saying that she couldn't forgive. She was like 80 years old, and she couldn't forgive the Nazis for being put in the concentration camp and the loss of her family and everything else. And so who am I to say she has to forgive? That's her choice, And I'm not sure if I was in her position I could forgive. I would like to think I could, but I don't know that for a fact or whatever. So it's very personal. It's a process, and it shouldn't be forced. And I was in a group one time. And this lady said, "Scott, Spirit is telling me you must forgive so and so." And I'm like, well, maybe I'm not ready, or maybe I thought I had. And that's the other thing is when we say it's never ending. President Carter, who's been in the news lately, in one of his books, he talks about what Jesus said when Jesus was asked by Peter, "How many times shall I forgive?" And his answer was 7 times 70, or 490. Angelo was taking a little break, so
Yeah.
uh, 7 times 70. And President Carter said that 7 times 70 may have been for one person for one event.
Yeah.
Every time that event comes to mind, you have to reaffirm your decision to forgive. So I just think that's very, very neat. For me, forgiveness has really helped me, and I know there's so much more. There's so much more that I have to do, but it's like I say, it's something that I recommend. It's something that
Yeah.
I don't push on people. So, uh, you
I
have
don't
any?
push it on anybody either.
Yeah.
Because it's a personal process. It's one of them things that if you don't forgive somebody, you don't forgive them. Like I'm going through a process at the minute. Like these people who harass me, they're still harassing me, and why should I
Right.
forgive them for doing that?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. And maybe
Liz
you
has just
should.
messaged saying hi.
Who's that?
Liz.
Does she want in?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll send her another invitation right fast. Okay.
You know, maybe why should I forgive them for harassing me? You know what I mean?
Right.
And they want me to unblock them from my phone, but I'm not doing it. You know, I'm not doing it.
No.
Why should I?
No. And that would be reconciliation.
Yeah, and I'm
And
not doing that.
yeah, and I don't think they've given you a reason to reconcile with them.
Exactly.
So, okay, Liz, I've sent you an invitation. Give it a moment or two. Okay,
Hey,
here
Liz.
she is.
Hello.
Hey, how's it
Hey.
going?
That's okay. I had to press the continue button. When you answer, then it says Hangouts on air. Blah, blah, blah.
You have to press continue to join anyway.
Yeah. I've noticed that they're doing some tinkering. I was in a hangout last night, and I've noticed they're doing some tinkering with the hangouts or whatever. So
Yeah, they are.
So I'm not sure how that's going to work out. Liz, we had a young man join with us, Angelo, and he may be back. So and plus I've invited a couple other people, so they may or may not be here.
I just nearly ended up being ill then.
Okay.
No, it's been a long week.
Mm-hmm.
Thank God. All I have to do is administrative stuff, and then I'm off work for the week. But
Yay.
I really, really hate Facebook for finding out important information.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I don't like finding out about people dying. Really important.
Oh. Yeah. But you know, more and more people are using Facebook as their primary news source.
Yeah.
That to me just blows my mind. I mean, why not go to one of the news sites, you know, the AP or CNN or
Yeah.
the BBC or something? And why?
Yeah, but a lot of them are linking with Facebook, so people go to centralized locations like Facebook.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, I found out. Oh yeah, I found out my second cousin died, and so
Yeah.
from Facebook.
Jeez, Liz, I'm sorry to hear that.
Oh yeah, and then I found out where the sister is living. She's in a different state, but
Mhm.
she's yeah.
Mhm.
No.
Jeez,
Well,
I'm that ill. I'm about to switch.
So it's been a nice long week. Oh yeah.
okay. Well, I'm sorry. Anastasia's not had a very nice week either. They're going to have to do a biopsy on her lip, and they can determine a lot of different things from that biopsy. So that's going to be scheduled. She doesn't even know when it's going to be scheduled, but
Yeah. Biopsies suck. We had a liver biopsy.
Yeah.
When the buddy was 14, so that sucked.
yeah. So anyway, that's the next step on her journey. The weather is pleasant in England, so that's a positive.
Yeah. Oh man,
But
there's beautiful weather here. There's no humidity today,
oh
so
yeah,
Hello?
absolutely
Hello?
beautiful.
hello.
It's Gray.
Hey, Gray, welcome to the Hangout. We were just kind of talking about what's going on in the week, and we're talking a little bit about forgiveness, and
Yeah.
so. But I was just sharing a little bit about your situation, where
Yeah, it's ridiculous. It's horrible. It's crap.
yeah, you've got good weather, but you still don't have water yet, and
No, the water situation's still going on.
yeah, but you've got your appointment on Tuesday, right, with your therapist?
Therapy's, yeah, 9:30, 9:30 in the morning.
Okay, well, hopefully you can talk about a lot of the stuff that's going on or whatever, and the
Yeah,
therapist can help you out. So,
yeah.
um, Liz, do you have any thoughts on on forgiveness, what it is and what it means to you?
Forgiveness is mostly about you rather than the other person.
Mm-hmm.
To me, forgiveness has okay. When we forgive someone, it means that it doesn't mean that we pretend that whatever the offense between us was never happened. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of Christian denominations want you to believe that they teach it in such a way that you get that you're left with the impression that that's what that means, and that's a really, really, really unhealthy definition um of forgiveness.
Mm-hmm.
To me, forgiveness is about freeing yourself from the other person, and if you find reconciliation through a mutual understanding, that's part that can be part of the forgiveness process, but it doesn't have to be. It's not a requirement. There are some offenses in my book that are unforgivable in the
Yeah.
sense that there's no justice for them, that the only thing you can really do is to not find reconciliation with that person. And then
Same here.
you forgive, and then if you're going to forgive the other person, um it's more like, okay, so for some offenses you don't have to forgive the other person, but you do have to forgive you. In other words, you have to give yourself the you give yourself permission to forgive and to find closure with that person. But it
Yeah.
does not mean that um and you give yourself permission to redirect the energy you feel toward them toward other constructive pursuits. But as far as forgiveness meaning like, a sense of justice or a sense of reconciliation or anything like that, no, not necessarily. um
Mm-hmm.
some
Well,
things
you
are unforgivable as
yeah
far.
well yeah well
Yeah.
you bring up two very good points, Liz. The first one is self forgiveness is very, very important, and we should forgive ourselves for whatever part we had in this situation or whatever, even if it's just a perceived part. I still think forgiveness would be valuable. And the other thing you kind of alluded to was reconciliation does not have to be total. You can have a limited reconciliation. Maybe you have an uncle or a cousin that's an alcoholic, and so your idea of reconciliation is, I'll put up with him on Christmas and Thanksgiving, but the rest of the year he's on his own. you know.
Yeah,
So I mean, and it's a very, 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 very personal thing, and it should
yeah.
be left up, I think, as I said before, to the individual to decide how it all works out.
What
Yeah,
time is it?
forgiveness does not have to include reconciliation. It can just include be a step on the path to closure, you know.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it doesn't. Yeah, reconciliation does not have to be part of it. If and new boundaries can be a part of forgiveness. part of finding forgiveness, not just for yourself but for other people, comes with setting boundaries and
Yeah.
finding a new way on the path, not necessarily forgiving in a passive way. It can become, I have forgiven myself, or I have forgiven this person, so now I'm going to honor myself and I'm going to honor the present situation.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
What time is it?
I've
Please.
got 20 minutes past 8 p.m. London time.
All right. Nice one.
Okay.
So it's
Okay.
not 9 o'clock yet.
No, you've got uh, plenty of time.
40 minutes.
Yeah, yeah. So, see, I a lot. Oh, I was going to ask a question. Has anyone ever asked you for forgiveness?
Yeah.
And did you?
The people who have asked me, and I said no.
Oh
I'm
yeah,
not.
you mentioned it, and you're not ready to forgive them,
No.
which is fine. I can't remember, other than just a simple pardon me. I've never actually been asked to forgive by the person that injured me. And maybe 9 times out of 10, they're not going to ask you. But like Liz was saying, forgiveness is for you.
Yeah.
It's not for them. They're not going to get the stress and the heart disease and everything else from holding a grudge. And that's the thing about holding a grudge. It weighs you down. It doesn't weigh them down. It weighs you down.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
it's a way to free yourself from the prison they want you to be in.
Yeah.
Now, you should feel anger toward them, okay, but you should also have some sort of release for that. You should not be, poison yourself,
Yeah. Yeah.
And you know what? I don't forgive. There are people who have wronged me that I don't forgive them in the sense that I reconcile that what happened was not acceptable. I don't, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like I said, you can't forgive some things, but you can let go and you can work toward finding a place of peace, a place of acceptance with all of us. It's
Yeah.
different.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a story. About Jerry and Esther Hicks and Abraham and the law of attraction and all that kind of stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, early in his career, Jerry Hicks detested rich people. Okay.
If you can't see us, we're sending an email a minute.
Okay. But anyway, one of his buddies told him, he said, as long as you hate rich people, you can't be one of them. And he had set up a mental block in his mind to prevent prosperity from coming into his life or whatever. And I don't know if you believe in all that airy-fairy stuff, but I think there's something to that. It's like if there's a group that you detest for whatever reason, it's going to hurt you more than it does them. And that's one of the things that I've had to come to terms with, especially Donald Trump. Donald Trump would be really, really easy to hate or whatever because
my God, I cannot believe that idiot is running for president. Jesus.
Yeah, but he's an arrogant blowhard. I mean, let's just face it. And at best, at worst, he could be a demagogue and could really hurt the country if he were to succeed. Now, my feeling is that if he became president, he would surround himself with advisors and people that would kind of soften his tone, so he wouldn't be as bad as all of that. But I have to watch myself because I don't want to slip into hate for somebody that I've never met, because that will just only affect me, and it'll slow down my progress. So so I'm trying to be very, very careful about not judging Donald Trump or whatever, and just letting nature take its course or whatever. And when he has his fun, he'll go back and be a businessman or whatever. So, but
Yeah, hate should be a force for promoting good. In other words, if you hate something, like it can be a powerful force for change. You
yeah,
know?
mo motivation or
Yeah,
inspiration to
it can be
action.
motivational.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And it can be a very powerful motivation, but it should not be all consuming.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. And you shouldn't let it. You should let it motivate you, but you shouldn't let it define you. In other words, it shouldn't become uh, a living part of you. I don't think. You know.
Mhm.
Uh, well, so anyway, those are some nice thoughts. Any other thoughts on forgiveness or the lack thereof? Okay. Well, what else is going on?
I'm sending an email closing some groups down that I'm being harassed on.
Right now? Are you
Yeah.
being harassed? You're being harassed right now, or?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Cut your losses and move on. Life's too short. Life is too short to put up with foolishness.
I'm not putting up with it. That's why I'm closing the groups down.
Yeah, yeah. And if they don't like you, that's fine. Let them go find their group, you know. Let them find their tribe. Not every tribe is for everybody. So
Exactly.
we've we've had to do that in our hangouts, and it's on the one side it's kind of sad, but on the other side, it's you don't want to throw good energy after bad energy. You know, try to make something happen that just is not going to happen. So. Mhm.
It's annoying, but I've got to do it. I've got to do it for my own safety.
There you go. That's the thing I think was really nice about my childhood was that the only bullies we had to worry about were the ones we went to school with.
Yeah.
Now in the internet age, we have to worry about people from around the world, and that to me is just not right.
Yeah.
My little niece was on Facebook, and she never had any problems with Facebook. She just got bored with it, and so she's kind of dropped out or whatever. And I think that's a good thing. I think that's a good thing. She's going to be a junior in high school, and she just had her 16th birthday in July, and I'm really impressed with her. She's turned out to be a very, very attractive, intelligent young lady. So she she shouldn't have to put up with all this foolishness or whatever. So. I think Elizabeth had to, or Liz had to do something, so she kind of stepped away from the
Yeah.
microphone for a little bit. Uh, so we're just kind of hanging out. Let me see if
Yeah.
anything's going on. I've been talking for the last half hour. Let me see if anything's going on. I didn't even open up my YouTube page yet. Okay, I got it muted. Okay, we've got one person actually watching us on YouTube, so let me check the Google Plus page and see what's going on there. I need to refresh that. Okay. I am really pleased with Google Plus. I didn't like it when they first rolled it out or
Yeah.
whatever, but it has really grown on me.
Yeah, me too.
I don't think anyone's trying to join the Hangout, so we just have a quiet Hangout then, which is
Yeah.
okay. Have they started going back to school in England?
They're starting going back in September.
Yeah, in our country, it used to be in September. We have a Labor Day, which is the first Monday. I think it's the first Monday after the first Sunday in September or whatever. And you used to register before Labor Day, but then you went after Labor Day, which like maybe September 4th or September 5th or whatever. And but they keep rolling it back, man. They keep rolling it back. Some of the private schools actually went back August 1st. And then my little niece, I think she started back this past Monday, which I think was August 23rd or whatever. So, but I mean, it's not really a bad idea here in Texas because it's just so hot they can't do anything anyway. So why not put them in an air-conditioned school where they can do some learning? So.
I've just sent the email now, so
Okay.
hopefully.
Yeah. Well, it's you've got so much going on. You don't need the hassle of those people.
Hey, what?
Anastasia's had to drop out of some groups and because of harassment on the internet or whatever. So I was just saying how she has so much on her plate already that she shouldn't have to deal with the hassle of other people.
Oh, yeah.
Hmm. I think it's better to have a handful of really good friends than to have a bunch of people in your circles that you don't know whether they like you or not.
That's it.
Mhm.
It's annoying.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Now I've got to shut these groups down because they're my own groups, and I've got to shut them down.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's the nice thing about Google Plus is that one click and you don't have to deal with anybody ever again. Hey, Chance, long time no see. How's it going?
Pretty good. How about you?
Oh, we're hanging in there. Do you have low humidity as well in Austin?
Huh?
I'm
Is your
being
hu-
harassed. Hey, Chance, I'm being harassed.
She's having to close down some of her groups and I guess block some people who have been harassing her. So, and she's got a lot of stuff going on right now. She's going to have a biopsy on her lip to see what's going on there. And they still got the water situation going on, believe it or not.
Still. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
And I've got to have a biopsy on my lip.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
A couple of good things is her weather's kind of nice right now. And then she gets to see her therapist on Tuesday, so she hasn't seen him in a few weeks. So.
Wow.
So, yeah. We were talking about forgiveness earlier, and I wanted to let you have an opportunity to say whatever's on your mind about forgiveness.
My personal opinion about forgiveness is the forgive but don't forget part of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like, you can forgive a person for what they did, but always remember that they're capable of that.
Yeah.
Delete group.
Yeah. Like, always remember, and it doesn't mean lack of boundaries. In other words, don't let them have the opportunity of repeating the same mistake,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and and you get to set the boundaries, and you get to decide whether or not you reconcile, and the level of reconciliation you want for that relationship. If you want it to go forward, it doesn't have to go forward. I said it before, but just to kind of to reinforce what I said before, was number one, forgiveness is you don't allow yourself to hate them anymore, and number two is you don't expect any kind of repayment. So
Yeah.
and that's really all it is to me. Everything else, acceptance, reconciliation, all that other stuff, that can be a different track. It doesn't have to come out of forgiveness. It could come out of forgiveness, but it doesn't have to. And like I said before, the individual gets to decide all these things. You can't force someone to forgive if they're not ready to.
Yeah.
I'm just
So,
sick of this harassment. I've shut down one group, I'll shut down the other two later, and then I'll shut down the rest tomorrow.
Yeah. I'm sorry you have to go to all those things, but it's probably for the best.
Yeah, I've got like 40 groups.
Yeah.
40 groups that I've got to go through.
Ooh. I don't have that many groups.
I do have that many groups. It's ridiculous.
Oh my gosh. Well, you know how they say to eat an elephant, right?
I can start afresh with my new email address. So I've got to create a new email address because this person's got my email address and they're spamming me with like really nasty emails.
Yeah. Well, just take it one step at a time. I mean, that's really all you can do. So, Chance.
I've already had to get like last week it was my phone number. Now it's my email address.
Man,
And you got life too.
Man, they can just really make your life into a nightmare, can't they?
Yeah, they are.
Yeah. Well, I'm pulling for you, and we'll always be your friends in this hangout. So.
I know.
Okay.
Friends are what I need right now.
Yeah. Chance, I'm thinking about getting back into the job market. Just on a part-time basis. Have you had any luck?
I have an interview in about an hour.
Good luck for that.
Well, fingers crossed.
For what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I am sitting across the street at a coffee shop, so.
Okay. Well, I wish you good luck. So.
Yeah.
Good luck. What position?
What was that?
What
What
position?
you doing?
It's basically a fast food place. Have you heard of Panda Express?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, it's a fast food oriental place.
Yeah. It's kind of like
They have them everywhere, so.
it's kind of like a buffet too, right?
It's more cafeteria style.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Okay. I think I've been there once or twice, whatever. I'm thinking about going to work for a pet store, a pet food store, if that makes sense.
That'd be nice.
Yeah.
Good luck. I really hope you guys get it.
Yeah, because I really love animals. Well, where I live in Magnolia, but Magnolia is on the edge of the woodlands, and the woodlands is like it's like one of the best areas in Texas, and the kids over there don't have to work, which makes it good for me.
The woodlands, yeah.
Yeah, because if I want to work, I can get a job fairly easy. And I went through one shopping center just walking through, and 4 places were hiring. So
Holy stuff.
I've just got.
Hello?
Hello.
Hey, how's it going?
It's Christian.
Hello.
It's Christian.
Hey, Christian.
Hey, Christian. How's it going?
Bit mixed.
Yeah. Well, it's
Everything's just been a bit hectic at the minute with this harassment and everything.
Well,
We're
just remember.
all feeling a bit.
Yeah. Well, just remember one thing, Christian. It came to pass.
Yeah,
It did not come to stay. It came to pass.
yeah.
So so just hang on, and things will get better. So
We're not going to forgive these people. Definitely not.
no,
Yeah.
no, no. You don't have to.
Is it the same ones you told me about before?
Yeah.
Yeah, you
So,
don't have to. It doesn't sound like uh, they're worthy of forgiveness.
yeah. Um,
Yeah.
so are you the only one who will work? Chance, are you the only one who will have the job, or like, do you have to make an agreement about okay, jobs and people coming out?
Um, basically, when we worked before, um, we've limited it to like 14 years and older.
Mhm.
Um, so anyone who can actually like understand how to make change
Mhm.
with money and stuff.
Yeah, and anybody who anyone who can act appropriately. You know, we can't
Exactly.
we can't begin stuffing our face at the fast food joint. We can't suddenly go running around playing with whatever is there. Okay, we have to act appropriate. It would startle people if a kid came forward and suddenly and it showed, you know.
Yeah. I mean,
So it's our birthday. It's our birthday on Wednesday, Chance.
nice. Yeah,
Some
we
of
had
us, some
we were
some of us age, some of us don't. But there you go.
yeah, we had one instance when we were working at Walgreens.
Oh, yeah.
A 5-year-old came out when we were cleaning up the toy aisle,
Oh my God.
and she started begging for this little monkey that we sold, and I didn't buy it for her that day because I didn't want to reinforce the behavior, but I did eventually buy it for her.
Yeah.
So,
We have incidents like that all the time with Katya.
Yeah, she can get it, but you don't want her to learn that she can get it by begging right then.
Yeah.
yeah, like I basically um, told her that was inappropriate and that if she behaved for a week, I would get it for her.
That's what we do with Katya.
Mhm.
And she behaved for a week. She really wanted that stupid monkey.
Speak of the devil. Hello,
Hello.
it's Katya.
Hey, how's it going?
The water situation's still on.
Yeah, yeah. We were told about that a little bit earlier. So yeah, you
Does some
just
nasty people keep emailing us and causing problems?
yeah. Well, I understand that those groups are going to be shut down. So
They are, yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Hey, what's up, Katya?
Nasty people keep emailing us and causing problems.
Hmm.
That's mean.
And you've had to change your phone number and your email address.
Yeah, yeah. All because of them.
Hmm.
No, I just wondered. I hope if you guys mind or whatever, feel free to. Somebody can say so, you know.
It's nasty.
Yeah.
It's been going on for a couple of months, this.
Hmm.
Mhm.
But I just
Well,
wondered if you guys
you
had
don't have
heard
to.
something about like, okay, maintaining consistency with the job to the outside world and stuff, you know.
Yeah.
Mhm.
What time is it?
It's 8:45 London time. So about 15 minutes or so. And it's also the time when we will go private. So
Yeah.
You would make a good teacher, Chance.
I've thought about it. One of the things I thought about when I get my associate's degree is getting licensed to be a TA in a special ed room.
Speaking of birthdays, on Wednesday, when
Yeah,
the body's going to be 26, I'm going to be 8.
wow. Well, happy birthday.
Nice one.
That's wonderful, Katya. I hope you get to eat cake.
Yeah. Is it going to be a chocolate one?
Mm-hmm. No, you have the tone and the see, I thought about going into special education myself, but I didn't want to be put in a box.
No.
A lot of people who are blind or who have any disability for that matter are encouraged, to go into special ed.
Yeah.
I
The only thing with doing a special ed classroom that concerns me is if I end up in elementary schools,
Mm-hmm.
the kids,
Oh yeah.
like, if we're on the floor and we're playing with the students, would one of my littles come out to play while I'm at work?
Mm-hmm.
Probably. Possibly.
Mhm.
It's,
I knew a guy that was a special ed teacher, and he had taught for 20 years, and he said the only way he could cope with it was to drink after work. I mean, so the stress level has got to be really, really high. I mean, some of these kids can get violent,
Yes. I
and
saw
they
it
don't.
strange when I was working in okay, I went through there was an experiential part to the ed programs that we went through
Hmm.
where you had to actually go and volunteer in schools and stuff.
Yeah.
Anyway, since I wasn't sure exactly, I knew I loved Spanish and that I wanted to teach it, but I wasn't sure if I wanted to teach in the regular classroom or if I wanted to teach special education. So to find out, I volunteered in part of my time in a regular first grade class and then part in a special education
Hmm.
elementary school. And I saw a restraint one time.
Well, just to teach school in Texas
Hmm.
requires a lot of courage and stamina because, I think something like 40% of the kids in Texas are impoverished.
Yeah.
So so
that's
you
not good.
so you gotta know that going in. And then this seminar I was telling you about that I got to watch on YouTube, she was saying that in America, I hope to God in England it's much, much better, but she was saying that in America, 30% of the adults that are mentally ill do not get any treatment whatsoever.
Hmm.
And then when
I
you go
think
to
it's the same. I don't know.
and then when you go to the kid level, kids in my country, 50% of them that need to be treated for mental illness do not get any treatment whatsoever.
That's not good.
And that's got to change because otherwise we're going to have we're having shootings every day, and there's a mental illness component in most of these things.
Yeah,
So we're,
shooting the other day on air on live television.
yeah, and the guy was nuts. One of the lady reporter that he never knew her.
Hmm.
He said she was a racist, and she was hired after he was fired. So how could he know that she was a racist?
Yeah.
I mean, there's something not connecting in there or whatever. And
How the spoff could he know?
he just there was a mental illness there that went untreated, and they said he had some anger issues, when he worked at the station, and he had worked at several stations or whatever around the country, and they always wound up terminating him because he couldn't get along with anybody, and I guess his family wasn't aware of it, but it would have had to have been the family to actually get him to go into treatment, because I'm not sure. I know when I was working, most places that I worked, if they thought you were drinking, they could take you for an immediate drug test. But I mean, that was it. That was it. I mean, if you were eccentric, they couldn't do anything for that. But I mean, in other words, they had to think. I remember going to work one morning, and this lady came in, and she was obviously drunk, and they tried to get her to go back home or whatever, her coworkers, but the managers saw that, and they said, "Let's go get you a drug test," and they got her a drug test, and that was the last day she worked there. So, but we've got to get serious. That's the one great thing about these hangouts is that we can reach out to people. I remember, in my younger, more idealistic days, is how do we reach these people? How do we reach these people to let them know that there's, number one, there's help for them, and number two, there's support for them.
Yeah.
And it's so much easier with the internet. I reached out to a young man in one of my Google communities who said, I'm depressed every weekend. I work through the week and I'm okay, but on the weekends I get really depressed. I said, why don't you come to my hangout?
What changed during the weekend? What's the difference?
Yeah, well,
it's a shame.
Well,
I know for me.
Yeah.
I know for me, online I typically use my sponsor when he has doing.
Mm-hmm.
If it's been a busy day, my line is I've been too busy to be depressed.
Exactly. And that's
I'm not as depressed.
Yeah,
and
doing something.
And this young man, he's got a 9 to 5 Monday through Friday, so he's got a structured routine and people to talk to or whatever. But on the weekends, I guess maybe I think there's some social anxiety there too as well.
Yeah.
Well, we lost Liz for a moment, I guess. But there's some social anxiety there too, or whatever. So maybe he doesn't get out on the weekends. And I'm like, well, come to my hangout. And he says, well, I would really like to have one on Saturday or Sunday. So I recommended him a couple of hangouts or whatever. So hopefully he'll get plugged in. So that is one good positive thing about the internet, is that we can support each other long distance. So there you go.
I don't like feeling down all the time. It's horrible.
Yeah, well.
Yeah.
Well, you got your.
It's scary.
Yeah, you'll see your therapist on Tuesday. So. And,
yeah.
That's
be able to sort things out then.
Yeah, and that's the good thing about your country, is that everybody is entitled to health care.
Yeah.
So it's a little clunky how it gets delivered sometimes, but everybody has a chance to go and get health care, which I wish I could say for my country. We are still not there yet. I'm so disappointed in President Obama about that.
The guy that I am voting for in the Democratic primaries, part of his platform is universal health care.
Yeah, and you're talking about Bernie Sanders?
Yep.
Okay. I like Bernie Sanders, but I don't vote in primaries. I consider myself to be an independent, so I don't think it would be fair for me to go into someone's primary and say, well, I'm going to try to pick your candidate, when I'm probably not going to vote for him anyway. So I'll let the parties have their primaries and do their thing, and then I'll vote in the general election. And if there's a runoff, well, there's not a runoff for president, but I vote in the general election. If there's a runoff, I would vote in the runoff for whatever. I don't know if he's going. I voted for the Justice Party candidate, Rocky Anderson. I don't know if he's going to run again. He hasn't been doing very much, so he's probably not going to run again. I'm looking at the Green Party candidate because I think she might be very good. So.
Yeah, I like Bernie Sanders, but I don't think he's going to get the nomination.
Yeah. I don't know
people like him are the young voters.
Yeah. Well, I don't know what's going to happen because I don't know how big this email thing is about Mrs. Clinton. I don't know how big it is. I mean, it sounds to me like almost like
Maybe
Watergate.
they understand.
They released a statement that it was found to not do anything illegal.
Okay. Well, that's her campaign staff, but she's being investigated by 3 government agencies and 3 congressional committees, and who knows when that's going to end. So
Yeah.
and they'll have to look at the emails and see. Yeah, some of them were classified after the fact, which to me doesn't make sense. It should be classified in real time, to the event or whatever it is. You shouldn't look at it 6 months later.
What time is it?
It's almost 9 o'clock. So, are you guys ready to go private?
Yep.
Okay. Well, let me say goodbye to our YouTube folks. We're going private now. Next week on September the 4th, 2015, we'll have another Hangout. The topic...
I won't be here on September the 4th because I've got a party.
Well, congratulations. That reminds me of a Beatles song. I don't want to spoil the party, so I'll go. And on that note, we're going to go too. So we'll see everybody when we see everybody. So take care and peace out.